Hello and welcome, YouTube community, to my 2025 draft dodging tier list. This is going to be a tier list of what I believe to be the best draft dodging methods, and I'll be ranking them on like accuracy and how well they work and the likelihood that you're going to end up in a worse predicament. I feel obligated to say this, but do not draft dodge. I quasi-demis discourage draft dodging. I do not condone it. It is very illegal. Do not do illegal things because I tell you to. However, if you were to, this is the tier list of how well it would work. The first method is you can just not go. Not like just not going, but you can declare yourself as a conscientious objector. And that just means you object it. You can't go to the draft due to religious or moral objections. And if this works, hell yeah, bro. You just say no. However, doing a little bit more research on Wikipedia, and I say just reading the Wikipedia article about this, sometimes it leads to execution. I don't know if that was maybe in like the Roman times, but any execution, I don't think is a good option. That's going down to A tier. Next up is a classic. It's moving to Canada. We've all thought about it, right? If there's a war, oh, I'm moving to Canada. Because, like, of course you would. It's just Canada. It's right there. And, in theory, it works, right? You just overstay your visa. And then you're there. You're chilling. It seems like a pretty chill place. The only problem is you're now a felon and can't go back to the US. So, like, slight issue. But then again, I mean, still A tier. Just buy yourself an igloo and chill in Canada. I I mean, if you got no issues not coming back, then what are they gonna do? Find someone to go get you? Nah. Next up is being a student. This is another pretty solid method. I don't know how studious you have to be in order to be eligible to not get drafted. Like maybe you have to be like in med school or something. But like, I'm in school now. If war breaks out, am I good? I mean, again, if that's the method, low key that's S tier. You got to deal with being a nerd, but like Joe, you're not dying. So I feel like that's a pretty solid place to be. Then again, I don't know. Maybe you have to be crazy like doctor, PhD stuff. I don't know. But if not, dude, I'm good. We're done. Next up is a little more vague. It's just generally lying. Like whether it be to the doctor or to the draft agent on knocking on your door or to anyone else. And this one I feel like it's a pretty solid option. However, I don't know how well it would work because they probably wouldn't believe you. It'd be hard just to like claim to the doctor, oh, I got X disease, can't draft me. You probably just couldn't lie, and I don't think the draft agent would just take that very well either. So I'm not gonna lie, this doesn't feel like a very good one. You might have to take matters into your own hands, but I don't think it's like dangerous. So we're gonna put it at a C tier. Staying on a doctor note, we got bribing your doctor to say you're medically unable to get drafted. This one's a good one because it covers all the bases. If you got Dr. House, he would lie for you. Or if your bro is a doctor, I mean there you go. As long as they don't get found out, boom, you're good. I mean, there's no blood on anyone's hands. You don't gotta worry about anything, bro. You have your doctor's note. You're good. Just skip school. Like you did it. Everyone's forged their doctor's signature before, like skipping school. So why not just do it again? And this time the doctor's in on it. So if it works, it's fire. I mean, it still might not work, so I'm gonna put it at A tier because I think things could go wrong. Your bro could go to jail, but I think it's still a pretty solid option. Doctor House would lie for you. Next up is falling from a building. More accurately, it's just injuring yourself to avoid getting drafted. And I'm not gonna lie to you, this isn't a very good one because look, first of all, we're already at the problem of you gotta injure yourself somehow. And I don't know, I didn't do enough research. I don't know what the limit is of what they won't draft you, cause like I mean, depending on the war, maybe a pinky's worth it. You just take a butcher knife and just go bang. But then you're also missing a finger, and they also might still draft you. I don't know, but like, I don't know if just a broken arm would work. Like, could you just like take one for the team, break your arm, and then you're good, or would they just like want you again in 6 months or whatever? So there's definitely better options here. We're gonna put this in D tier for drafted. um, yeah, no, there's definitely better options. Like the next one, getting pregnant. This one would only work in a country that women get drafted, and in that case, this is a pretty solid option. I'm not gonna lie to you. The only downside is you are now pregnant. So, I mean, if you want kids, there you go. I mean, that's best case scenario. Low key, if you get your draft letter and you want kids, you're like, all right, may as fuck it, let's ball. So again, you are pregnant, but you're not drafted. And if you want kids, there we go. And I don't know, again, I don't know how it works. I don't know if you can just like get an abortion later and they don't come back and they don't ask again and they just assume you had the child. But I mean, you're you're not drafted, but then you still are pregnant, and I hear it's not a very fun time. So I'm gonna put it in B for baby. Next up is you're too famous to get drafted. This is what happened with BTS. That's why they're there. They were too famous, so they didn't have to do their mandatory South Korean military service. Then again, even if this wasn't like regular military service and it was the actual draft, I don't think BTS would have gotten drafted anyways by the South Korean army. But like, I don't know, what's the famous meter? I mean, like in World War II, they combined athletes. They combined not athletes, sports teams like the Steagles. And but now what are we doing? Like, are they gonna draft LeBron? Probably not. It's LeBron. So where's the line? Because then again, I mean, it's a pretty solid one. Just be famous. Though that is harder to do, of course. But if you are drafted, you get some solid draft and war content going. Like, can we get Kai Cenat drafted, and we get the Kai Cenat war streams. Mafia Fallen 4 is just Kai Cenat getting drafted and going through boot camp. But again, the drawback here is you have to be famous, and not everyone's famous. So for the regular person, this is pretty difficult. However, if you do get famous, that's good. That you're good. I don't think TikTok fame counts though, so we're putting this in B for BTS. This is what I just learned about. It's you can be too broke to get drafted. When I was reading about this, it was mostly talking about like Roman times. So I don't know if this one would still work. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if the military like snatches homeless people off the streets and drafts them. I don't know how that works, but maybe they don't. I mean, that could work. You could just like for a few months lay on the floor of just the street city, but then again, you have to be homeless. Or maybe just regular brokenness would do. I doubt it though. I'm gonna say this probably won't work in general. And if it does, you probably gotta be real broke. So I think this D tier is a pretty good spot because either A, you get drafted and you're broke, which I guess then that honestly might lift your scenario, but we know veterans don't do too well, unfortunately. So I'm gonna say this is not a good option. Next up is being too stupid to get drafted. Now, if you're actually too stupid to get drafted, that's an S tier because you're already that dumb. But more accurately, because again, this is about finessing the system, it's when they do the military IQ test, you just bomb that shit so badly they don't even want you. You you're failing the 1+1. Again, you run into the issue of they might not believe you, or like maybe there is no such thing as too stupid to get drafted, and they just throw you in the front lines. Because alternatively, you could be too smart, and then they just like put you behind a screen and you're like doing data, and like I mean that's best case scenario to be honest. But this one, I feel like there's too much that could go wrong. Like You could just be a meat shield. They could buy it. They could not buy it, I mean. So I feel like this one wouldn't work very well. I also don't even know if it's realistic in general. So we're gonna put this for C student. Next up on the list is bribery. Now, if I was a lesser man, I would be like, yes, everyone should bribe your local draft worker. But like, come on, we're past that. We're not the president here. But in all reality, it's a pretty good option, right? If you have the financial means, the opposite of being broke, to be too rich to get drafted, then like there you go. I mean that's free. That's not literally free. However, no harm to you. Except like fuck you, getting drafted. Come on, do your civic duty. That's unacceptable. Do something a real man would do, like jump off a building. Come on. Next up is a new method. A lot of these we were talking about might have been patched since they were last used in the War of 1812, but this is a new method. It's called being trans. I mean, of course, you used to just be able to say you were gay, but that one doesn't cut it anymore. Yeah, we don't know. In a few years, that might be back in the meta, but for now, it's just being trans. And honestly, again, this is a pretty solid option because, like, that you're just trans. It's fine, right? Stick to the man, baby. It's your rule. Abuse it. So shout out trans people, but I don't know where. I don't know if you have to be like legally trans. Like you could go back over to Doctor House over here, and just like get him a prescription for HRT, and just not take it, right? If that's all it takes, and be like, look, I got the doctor's note. I'm on HRT, and you just don't take it. Again, S tier. Come on, that's so free. Technically, there's not even anything illegal about this. You just gotta get a prescription and not use it. And then just like don't take it and then just like untransition after the war and be like, oh, don't need HRT anymore. Because like, what are they gonna do? Not believe you? Come on. That's easy. You can like double down by like when the draft agent comes, just like show up in drag or cross dress. And you're like, we're good. That's all it takes. So again, it's a pretty solid one. Cause really, there's nothing illegal, kinda. And also, stick it to the man. Use your own rules against them. But this is a solid option. I'm not gonna lie. This is a good one. Next up on the list is getting a disease. Now, of course, it'd have to be a pretty bad one because even if like you have the flu, they'll probably just come back in a week. So what we're talking about here is gotta get AIDS, and that's not a good one because now you have AIDS. Of course, you don't have to get AIDS. I'm sure just like syphilis will do or something. But then again, you do have to live with that potentially deadly or life-altering disease, whichever one you choose. And there's also still a chance that they draft you anyways and put you in the the bioweapon unit. Um, Apparently, while doing research, I learned this is what they did in World War II or one, I think, is they just went to like brothels and got chlamydia, and then had to go home because they had chlamydia. And again, if this works, then like it's a pretty solid one. But I'm not gonna lie to you, that's that might not work these days. There's better medicines, and also, dude, you got AIDS now. Like that's not good. We're putting that in D tier. Next up is another classic draft dodging method, and it's just be in jail. Now, the downside to this one is you're now in jail. And again, if it's for a minor crime, it's not that bad. Like, if you jaywalk one too many times, there we go. You just gotta sit in a jail cell for a few months, and then you're good. I mean, again, I don't know if they come back. That's the thing. If they see you're out of jail and they come back, then you're cooked. But they probably won't do that. So that's really not that bad of an option, except for the fact that you are still in jail. So it's a pretty bad option. Uh, I'm between C or D here because on the one hand, You could just get a petty crime. Maybe honestly, you might only be in jail for like a month or two. Is just whenever they pick your birthday, and then just don't show up for that month, and they ask where you are. I'm in jail. So you do have to deal with being in jail for X amount of time, and then the consequences that come after that. However, probably still better than being in a war. So I'm gonna stick with C for crime. Next up is a pretty solid one, and it's you just get kicked out. This one takes a few steps, right? In this one, you do get drafted. So it's not even draft dodging because you are drafted. And you go, you show up to boot camp, and you just do something to get kicked out. You just like yell at your officers enough. I don't know. Then again, you run the risk of like getting punished. I don't know if they like throw you in solitary confinement or like you got to do 100 more push-ups every day. I don't know. Like they might just not tolerate it, and then eventually your will breaks. But if your will is strong enough and you just sit there and like annoy the shit out of people, it would probably work. And best case scenario, you got drafted, so they can't get you in trouble for like draft dodging because you were there. You just happened to be insane. But then again, they might not buy it, and they might keep you there. So we're gonna put this in B tier. This is like a cousin of this one, and it's you get drafted, but once you show up, you're just too fucking crazy, and they don't want you, so they kick you out, like on purpose. You just do whatever it takes. You just like scream, start doing satanic rituals, eating silverware, anything to make them go, "Whoa, we can't have this dude here. He's too crazy." And then again, boom, you're free to go home. You just put on the greatest acting of your life, and now you're not gonna get drafted anymore, because they say, "Hey, this dude's too crazy." You gotta be really committed to the bit for this one, because they can't catch you lacking at all. If they see for a second that crazy ass grin goes off your face and they think you're faking, boom, you're cooked. I don't know what they're gonna do, but they're gonna do something. So you gotta be locked in. You gotta be the number one actor ever. Pull some Leonardo DiCaprio shit and just go crazy. Again, like it doesn't have to be harmful crazy even. If you just like I don't know, again, like eat silverware until they like, all right, this dude's too crazy, we can't let him in here. Then you're good. So honestly, S tier. You just gotta be good. This is a skill issue. S for skill issue. Because if you got the skill, you're home free. Next up is being a senator's son. Now, this ain't me. This ain't me. And I ain't no fortunate one. And once again, this goes along with bribery. Is like, what the fuck? Come on. We want honest work here. You gotta sit there, you gotta eat your silverware, and you gotta not get your daddy to get you out of this. Come on. Come on. Do it like a real man. D tier again, because fuck you. Next up on the list is you're too fat to get drafted. This is another one I learned about while doing research because I found out some South Korean kids got in trouble because they were trying to skip their military service by being too fat. They were like trying to gain weight and stuff. I don't know if this works. Like I imagine you gotta be pretty fat. You gotta be like queso. Um, and I mean, just start pounding chicken, bro. Sit in McDonald's and go crazy, and it would work. I mean, maybe for some people, probably already will work, and you don't gotta change anything. But for the average man, you gotta lock in a little bit, do the craziest bulk of your life. So then again, back on the don't get drafted. Once you're not drafted, I mean, you'd have the craziest cut, and you'd be ripped as fuck. Uh, but then again, it's a lot of work to get fat enough to not get drafted. And maybe there isn't a too fat to get drafted. I imagine there is. I think if you're on one of those Walmart scooters, you're probably too fat to get drafted, like that South Park episode. This one I also don't know if you have enough time for it because you probably can't gain that much weight if you are like if they announce that the draft is on, you probably can't gain like 200 pounds in a month. So for those already fat enough, congrats. But for everyone else, this one seems pretty Pretty unlikely. So C for queso. And finally, it's just don't show up. Similar to not just saying no wherever I put that one right here, except for it's worse because you end up in jail like this one, except you can't just get a misdemeanor. Like this is a 6-year felony jail time, and then you can't run for office. And of course, everyone's dream is to be the president of the United States. So this one's rough. I won't lie to you. This one's kind of rough. Then again, if you are okay with just like thugging it out for 6 years, good for you. There's definitely better ways. But like, again, go off. But then again, it's a rough one. I would not recommend. This is another D tier where your life is probably worse afterwards. I think that's a good way to categorize D tier. Is your life just gets worse instead of getting drafted. So there we go. Thank you guys for watching. This was my 2025 draft dodging tier list. This is just every method I could think of off the top of my head, really, and plus Wikipedia. So if there's any I forgot, just like put in the comments. And also, I'm just trying to make shit. So if you have any video ideas, any things you want me to rank, leave in the comments, and I'll do it. Of course, within reason, but like, just tell me something. I'll rank them. I'll do whatever. We're putting content out there for the masses to witness. Also, just like leave a comment because eventually I'm gonna read all of them and make a video about it. I'm reading them all anyways, but I'll make a video responding to comments, even if they're hate comments. Oh, YouTuber things. Like and subscribe. Turn on the bell. My next video will be out at some points. When the fat lady sings, I may say. But yes, like and subscribe. Stay tuned, and I'll be back later. So long.